Is where I am here in Southeast Australia, late autumn, May the 25th, Wednesday, May the 25th, coming up to 9 a.m. Getting quite chilly outside in my part of the world. Welcome to episode 19 of the Mindset Reflexology Show. We'll be kicking off in a moment, just running the clock down to 9 a.m. I hope wherever you are, you're well, life is good. If you're a trader, that you are trading well, trading calmly, and the markets are being kind to you. Today's episode, using images to build long-term memory and how this improves your trading, a really fascinating area of the neuroscience, I guess, the biology of memory and how the brain uses past memories to predict future outcomes. I would put it like that. And this is really fundamental and powerful in understanding, because if we understand this and learn how to retrain ourselves, we can then influence and transform how we reflex under stress, which of course, as I've said many times, trading is one of the most stressful things that you can do, because it compresses decision making down into a very, very tight time frame where you really don't have time to think through rationally, and it's very easy for our emotional caveman brain to take over, which is what happens the vast majority of the time. And when that happens, we react based on the brain making predictions using past memories, and those predictions then trigger to the fight-flight response. So today I want to continue our study into the psychology of trading. We're going to be focusing predominantly on short-term and long-term memory loss. And if you remember from previous videos, I've spoken about long-term versus short-term memory and why that's important for us as traders. And because we want our decision-making model to reside in the long-term portions of our brain, right? Because in the long-term areas of our brain, that's where our unconscious competence activities reside, or as I call your reflexology component of your brain. Things like driving, things like cooking, things like getting dressed in the morning, just walking. We don't think about them. We just perform those activities without any type of conscious thought process. When a pilot flies a plane and there's a burst of turbulence and he reacts in a certain way, that's not short-term memory. That's not from the front part of your brain. That's the longer-term part of your brain, where those instructions are kept and we just react. Now, all these different parts of the brain have technical terms, which I've spoken about in other episodes. I'm not going to use those technical terms unless I absolutely have to. So why is it important? I've recently talked about the fact that if you work from short-term memory, which is where most traders are working from, you're flying by the seat of your pants, making decisions in the moment, thinking versus reacting unconsciously to the signals in the model, then we enter this state of panic, a state, that I refer to as caveman brain mode, and here I will use a technical term. Your basal ganglia reacts, which is that feeling of absolute panic, such as, for example, when someone jumps out from behind a door and scares you, or, a dog sneaks up behind you and barks, right? And you have that instant reaction. That's your basal ganglia. It kicks in immediately, far in advance of rational thought. You have this heightened response. So, picture that type of response relative to trading, right? That shows up as breathing shallow and fast, your heart beating fast, your sweat glands engaged, the pit of your stomach your shoulders feeling tense. You can really feel it. And then here, I want to drill this into your mind, right? The brain can develop this emergency caveman mode of functioning as a habit. Over time, these individuals are driven into a reflexive state, which is beyond their control. This is what shows up in trading. So, I get asked, Ash, why do I make these mistakes? Why do I move my stop up? Why do I move my stop down? Why do I get out of trades early when I know I shouldn't? And the answer is simple. It has become a habit. It is biological, it is psychological, it is universal. You are hardwired to do this unless you learn to reflexively trade in a different way. Good afternoon and greetings, 𝐔𝐿𝐍𝐆. Thank you so much. Always enjoy seeing you, and you're a very loyal and supportive person. I appreciate you coming along, and I hope you're well. Now, I want to offer you guys a tool, to get to that level of reflexively trading in a calm, impartial way. So let me talk you through this. There have been studies of models of human memory, and I want to give credit to a chap by the name of 𝐔𝐒𝐈𝐍𝐿, who was the originator of this information, this study, where they studied a group of guys at Adaptive Systems and Interaction that works with Microsoft to help develop software that allows people to remember things easier, like your Outlook calendar, your appointments, all of these things, right? And here they say, right, that memory is a core aspect of intelligence that gives us an ability to review the past and anticipate the future. I quoted that line in a post yesterday. And then he goes on to say that they want to build a system that identifies key memory landmarks by learning and predicting which events would come to serve as memorable handles into activities of the past, that connection. And then lastly, 𝐔𝐒𝐈𝐍𝐿 and his team knew that images help us to remember events. Okay? Now, English translation. We learn through storytelling and pictures. So from the earliest days, before there was the written word, people told stories like, all the trouble started the day we hunted for buffalo just over the river and near the foot of the mountains, right? So immediately, do you have a picture of early cave people out hunting a buffalo at the foot of the mountains? You have that picture in your mind, right? We remember through pictures. If I asked you to close your eyes right now and say, remember 9/11, can you see the towers in your mind? Do you see the planes hitting the buildings? If I said, do you remember the day the space shuttle exploded on takeoff back in the 80s? If I say, remember the debris falling from the sky, every television and TV, do you see little, hunks of flaming and smoking debris, falling from the sky? If you're a bit older and I said, remember President Kennedy's assassination, what do you see? You don't think things, right? I think of boom, right? There he is in the backseat of the car, just like it was yesterday. I have that image burnt into my mind. That's instantly what shows up in my mind. Not a bunch of script, not a bunch of words, an image. Okay, so now we take this tool to get memories from short-term to long-term areas of our brain because we want to reflex unconsciously to our signals. We don't want to think about them in the short-term memory because that leads to panic. That's our survival instinct. We want to reflex from our long-term memory. So that panic leads to a habit, and habit leads to destruction of our trading accounts, those bad habits. So the tool I want to offer today is pictures relative to moving that information into long-term memory. And in this case, the picture that I want to use is your capital curve. Now, I don't have one to share during the presentation. Maybe I'll put this into my YouTube channel with a picture. So imagine a chart showing the balance of your account going up over time. You know, you have little glitches, but it's always going higher tops and higher bottoms, as a chartist would say. That's your capital curve. So that's the picture that you should be using every day before you start to trade. Look at it every morning and say to yourself these words: this is my capital accumulation curve for my model. This is what my drawdown looks like. This is what I can expect to see for maximum loss. My model rewards me for following the rules. My model will punish me for not following the rules. Pain is not following the system's signals. Pleasure is taking every trade my model generates. Okay? It's reviewing your profit and loss for the last 100 trades and seeing that balance amount go up and up and up, and remembering, building that long-term memory that says, when I follow my system, this number gets bigger as I scroll down. When I don't follow my system, the number gets progressively smaller. So you see what I'm doing here? You're associating positive reflex to that picture of your balance going up over time by following your systems. This is how we train the brain. Obviously, we take this into a practical process of doing it while you're trading as well. But for the purposes of this episode, I'm talking you through the process. Okay, so using pictures to build long-term memory and to avoid short-term panic and loss behaviors is what it's all about. Because if we don't reflex this way, if we don't have this in our long-term memory, we enter into that short-term survival in the moment state of panic. You might not be thinking those words, but that's what your brain is doing. And the market becomes a frightening, scary darn thing, okay? And we don't want to, we don't want to enter the market like that, but we do want to enter the market calmly and impartially. All of the traders from the past and all of the psychology trading books have told us, right? The only way to trade successfully is to get our emotions and our psychology under good management, not control. This is where a lot of other, people who speak in this industry talk about emotional control. It's not about controlling emotions. It's about understanding them and regulating them, and using mindfulness and breathing in that process. I've talked about those in other episodes. So this informs us that emotional regulation is key to trading success. So the question begs to be asked, do you even have this? Do you even know this? Do you know what your system even is? Do you have rules? There's no such thing as a trader who doesn't have a trading model. If you don't have a model and you can't say to me, I go long when the line crosses, on a chart, when this line crosses this line for X% target 1 or Y% target 2 with the stops below. And if I hit target 1, I trail my stops to 50%. As an example, if you can't say precisely and specifically and without hesitation, they're your rules of your model, that means you're making decisions on the fly in the market, and you're not making decisions based on long-term emotionally regulated reactions. So please, right, I want you to take advantage of an offer I want to make at the end of this video, right, to get into a free 20-minute coaching session with me. It's one of the things that I want to do. There's no cost, no obligation, but I want to offer 20-minute chats to go through in a little bit more depth how this can work for you. Okay, and learn how to reconstruct those thought patterns in your mind. And when you trade right, guys, it is boring. Again, I've spoken about this before. Trading needs to become boring. And boring is a great challenge for many people who trade, because that urge to be doing something and to feel an emotional reaction to trading is very seductive and very addictive. Successful trading should be boring and serene. Right? There's no panic. It's smooth sailing. You're sitting there waiting for your setup. It's waiting for the setup. And when it comes, you make it and you move on to the next one. And again, I've spoken about the jaguar versus the lion, the ambush trader versus the chase and hunt trader. As you know, I very, very much advocate the ambush mindset. Okay. As you know, my name is Ash, and I run a YouTube channel called Trading Psychology and Mindset. And I believe this is the only purely dedicated channel to mind and brain trading, training for trading. Lots of traders, lots of coaches, lots of people hint and speak about psychology a lot, and fair enough, and a lot of it's good. But my channel is focused specifically on mind and brain knowledge and training. So, if this video has been useful to you, I'd love you to comment before you leave, rate it. I'd love you to subscribe to the channel, recommend it so you can get them as soon as I post them. Click the subscribe and click the little notifications bell. Forward them to people who you know might be having these problems. But more importantly, take advantage of the 20-minute session. Get in a mentoring session with me personally. Because I want to meet you. Trading can be quite a lonely game. I like meeting people too. It's why I love coaching. I love trading. I've spoken about that 1,000 times. I absolutely love trading. But I also love connecting with people. And the way I do that is through my coaching and through my channel and through chatting. So please take advantage of that. I'd love to jump on a call with you, a Zoom call, and spend 20 minutes talking you through how to use this effectively to retrain your mind. Again, if you found this valuable, I'd love you to visit my website at mindsetfitmethod.com, my YouTube channel, Trading Psychology and Mindset. Click on some of the videos and check them out. Go on a learning journey. Don't wait to take control of your trading education. Take advantage of the free offer now. I will put the link in the comments or in the about text below this video when it goes on my YouTube channel. So in about 20 minutes after this has been loaded on my YouTube channel, I'll put the link, the diary link, to book in a chat with me should you want to. I hope this episode's been valuable, talking about the importance of long-term memory and using that to your advantage to trade in a more disciplined, more patient, more impartial way, so that you can change the way that your brain reacts to the pressure and stress of trading. And that's what mindset reflexology is all about. It takes work, it takes practice. Knowing about it is not enough. So my mission with these videos is so you know about it and you know what you need to do. The actual doing of it, you can go away and practice it yourself. You can work with me as long as you take that positive intentional action down that mind training path. That's my objective. So have a fantastic rest of the day or evening wherever you are. I hope the coming few days are profitable for you in your trading. If you're not trading, I hope this information is very, very interesting and useful and might take you a little bit further down the path of becoming a successful trader. Take good care, and I'll see you next week.